I knew Kim back from Uptown.
Oh, okay.
Way back then. Every day, all of them. I knew way back then. I got the email 6 months before she died. Before she got
Wow.
sick.
So she was still alive when you got
She
it?
was still alive.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't take no of it, to go into it like it did down. What made me got into, I got a phone call after she died. So I started doing my homework. Andre Harrell, Black Rob, Greg Mack. Even what happened to Albie Shore, Heavy D. There was too many murders around. His name kept floating up. And that's when I did the book.
Okay.
I took it and I didn't alter. I just dropped it and let it print up just how it was sent to. So I got another phone call after she died. I said, "What you do with it?" I said, "I got to get this book out." So I got a phone call from a guy named Wade. He had an iPod. He had a crime TV, and I spoke to him. I said, "How you get the book?" He said, "I got it from such and such." He said, "Yo, when you talk to this guy named Ty Chris," I said, "Yeah, Chris Todd." I said, "Yeah." Talked to him. We made a deal partnership, and I told him I ain't want to be the face of it, and let him be the face. And everything he said was true. It's the same book. The book changed because it had Kim Porter face. So I like to apologize to the family of Kim Porter for putting her face. Let her rest in peace. This is for not to bring down Kim Porter. It's just to fulfill her dream that she wanted her story out. You know what I'm saying?
The original book that was on Amazon that had her face on there. That's not the original book, correct?
It's the PG book.
Omegadrip exclusives.
The Lost Words of the Late Kim Porter. Okay. This is the book we all been waiting on. Word on the street is that this book is wild and will reveal a lot about what happened to a lot of these artists in the music industry. Hit the like button and let's get into this. Disclaimer. Kim's Porter final wishes was for this memoir diary to be made public out of protection for certain parties and their potential criminal activity. Some celebrities, performers, and events have been represented with X's due to their highly explosive nature. At some point in the future, this information will be revealed to the public regarding Kim's sudden death and the mysterious illnesses of Albie Shore and Jamie Foxx. Evidence does exist that points to foul play and/or poisoning. God bless Kim Porter and all of Sean Combs' victims, both male and female. Okay, that is page 1 disclaimer, so buckle up your seatbelt and let's get into chapter 1. Introduction. Soon after high school, I started landing modeling jobs. I couldn't believe it. It was all happening so fast. I met my husband, father of my oldest child, and one of my oldest friends in life. I'll be sure it was a whirlwind romance. I was only 19 when we married, and no, it didn't work out. Al is still one of my best friends to this day. Our son Quincy is such a talented and wonderful young man. At that time, I had no idea my relationship with Al was going to introduce me to the man that I would spend the better part of my adult life with, a man whom I would love and cherish, but eventually fear and hate. I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but I will say, although I knew what was going on, I turned a blind eye many times here. I have to tell this truth, unfortunately, because deep down, I knew everything that was happening, but I lied to myself a lot. He was so charming, a wolf in sheep's clothing, a devil, and I fell for it. This story must be told, despite the fact it will hurt my children. I cannot hide it any longer. Sean Combs must be stopped. Chapter 2. Humble Beginnings. I was born to loving parents, Jake Porter and Sarah L. Porter, in the Peach State of Georgia, all through Columbus High School when I graduated in 1988. I knew I was going to be famous in the 10th grade. One of my best friends, Tina, said to me, "You won't make it here in Georgia." I knew if I really wanted to be famous, I would have to leave my hometown and my home Georgia. That conversation was so important. So I look back now, it changed my life. I met Al while I was working in the industry. He was so dope and charming, and I had such a crush on him. We were married before I knew it, and Quincy was on the way. But I was young, and it felt like it wasn't going to last. It was a little heated between us after we separated, but we got past that quickly. He is just a super dope guy and an amazing father. Though we separated, we were forever bonded through Quincy. Thank you, Al. I will always love you. When I met Sean, he was cool. I didn't think much of him at the time. He was just another guy at the label. Uptown was huge, and we were all living our best life. But Sean continued to lay on the charm, and before I knew it, we were dating as a young single mom at one of the hottest companies in the world. Life couldn't get any better than it did. My boyfriend was getting even bigger. He and Clive would hang out a lot, but I didn't think anything of it. I mean, that was his boss, and he was doing things bigger than most men dare to even dream. Then it happened. I mean, okay, I was a little bit of a freak. I really enjoy myself with my partner, and toys are one thing, but I never imagined having a man I was dating asking me to use a toy on him the first time he said he just wanted to experiment, try something new. I was grossed out, but he kept begging. He said it would only be this one time, and he was just curious. I was only 20 at the time. I said, what the hell, I hated it. He bled from it, and there was peanut butter all on it, if you know what I mean. I left him alone after that. Chapter 3. Second Chances. Sean kept reaching out, and I kept ignoring his calls. Eventually, in a few weeks, we ran into each other at an event. He came over and sat next to me. We were cordial. He flattered me, saying, "You look so amazing." I replied with a simple "Thanks, Sean." I tried to get up and leave, but he pulled my arm. As I turned to him, he looked deep into my eyes and said, "Look, what happened between us was weird, but I really care about you. Can we?" He paused, and I tried to use this as an attempt to escape. I pulled my hand back and said, "Sorry, Sean. I have to go. Please. I think I'm falling in love with you. Can we talk?" My breath was taken away. He said he loved me. It was so fast, I wasn't aware of this as his manipulation tactic. Not yet. God, I was so young, so naive. He continued, "Let's have dinner." And I felt for it. 2 days later, we went out for drinks at a lounge in Lower Manhattan. The place was nice. Sean was really coming up and pulling out all the stops to impress me. He pulled the chair out for me to sit. Back then he was always a gentleman. He smiled and said, "Look," as he sat across from me. I hated it. I'll never want to do it again. Give me another chance. Over coffee the next morning, I decided to give him another chance. For the next year and a half, things seemed pretty normal. It was fun, things were going great, and we were living the dream that I dreamed about. Throughout my youth, Sean and Clyde were working on Bad Boy, and he had his first couple artists. He picked up Craig Mack, then some rapper from West Coast called Notorious B1 to help Chris develop. He was collaborating with the biggest names in hip-hop to make it happen. Things could not be more amazing. Then he asked me to do it again. It was insane. Sean said, "Baby, I can't stop thinking about it." "What the hell are you talking about?" I responded. Sean continued, I just can't stop thinking about that night. It was amazing. Can you screw me one more time, please?" I became infuriated. "Why don't you go to Clive? He is the one screwing you, isn't he?" Then Sean hit me. This was the first time he slapped me hard. Before I could form words, he began to beg. I'm sorry, holding my cheek where he hit me. I turned and ran off. That should have been it. But I guess I'm a glutton for punishment. He sent flowers and a bunch of expensive gifts. Then we bumped into each other at another industry event. He sat down next to me. This was deja vu. Sean started, "Imagine running into you here. Get the F away from me." I forced out. He became more serious as he said, "Look, baby, I'm sorry." But I just glared at him. There is nothing you can ever say to me. Nothing. After an awkward silence, he finished, "You know I love you. I love your son. He's my son. I don't know how to fix this, but I'll do anything. I'm sorry. He can be so sweet. Here we go with the love thing. This time is not falling in. He was great with Quincy, and to be honest, despite everything, I missed him." As he stood to walk away, I remember hearing myself say, "Call me later. What the F is wrong with me?" Chapter 4. Forgiveness. Sean arrived with flowers in hand. He wanted to see Quincy. He was so good with him, and Quincy ran over to hug him. I felt my heart melting. He asked Quincy, "How you doing, Tiger?" Quincy looked so innocent as he responded, "I'm good, I miss you." Sean's response sounding genuine, "I miss you too. We'll hang out tomorrow, okay? Sean gave him a little love tap on the butt. "It's bedtime," Quincy replied. "Okay, good night," as he turned to head towards his bedroom. He was the man I fell in love with. But what was I thinking? Crap. Not only does he want butt plugs, he slapped the crap out of me. So why am I still talking to him? They say that love is blind. But is it stupid too? As Quincy left, Sean looked at me and smiled. "Baby, let's go have some fun. That babysitter's on the way. I just want to show you a good time." I was so mad at myself for melting. As I said, "Okay," we sat on the couch laughing and genuinely having a good time when the doorbell rang. The babysitter had arrived, and so we left. As we exited the house, a big man climbed out of the limo and opened the door for us. He wore a sharp suit with a gun noticeably tucked under his arm. I thought to myself, he could have made it invisible, or did he want me to see it? Despite my reservation, Gene was a sweetheart. He was very courteous and polite as he tipped his head and said, "Good evening, ma'am." Gene drew a smile out of me as I responded, "Hello, Gene."